Hi, welcome to another session in this course. I will be teaching you how to use inner join in Mysql. I am going to be performing a simple task with our dataset in order to demonstrate this to you. I will also be showing you the importance of using keyword while joining tables in Mysql. And also, I will be teaching you some of the best practices while performing join operations in Mysql. We want to perform a simple task. The task is that we want to write a query that will give us the information about the customer name, the customer ID, and the order value for all the transactions in the orders table. Let me show you the orders table. The orders table contains all of the transactions for a particular year based on this record. It contains the customer ID. The customer ID here is a foreign key referencing the customer ID in the primary column. The card ID here is a foreign key referencing the card ID in the credit card table. We want information that are related to all of these records in terms of the customer ID and the customer name. If you look at this record, the customer name is not in this table. How do we get our customer name? We have to go to the customers table. In the customer table, we have the customer ID and we have the customer name. From the customer table, we can actually pull out the customer name. Let us start building our query from the scratch. The first thing I will do is that I will select all from the customer table so that I can see all the records in the customer table. Now we have all the records in the customer table. I know that the information I'm looking for are in two tables. I will join the two tables together. How do I do that? I can use inner join, I can use outer join. But what type of join are we going to use? It's going to be determined based on the type of information we want to get. This particular question, the question says that we are going to get the customer name and customer ID for all the transactions in the orders table. This tells us that every record in the orders table must get the customer name and their customer ID. And because of this, we are going to be using inner join because we know that the customer table contains information of all the customers. Also, we know that the orders table contains all the transactions. By the time we use inner join to join the two tables together, it is going to give us all of the information that are represented in the two tables based on the customer ID. If you don't get that, just follow me as I am writing the query. Now, we are going to be using inner join. We join this to the orders table. When you want to join in SQL, you must give a condition. And what is our condition? When you want to specify the condition, you use the on keyword to tell Mysql that I'm joining the above tables based on this particular condition. And the condition is that the customer table, customer ID must be equals to the orders table customer ID. What we are saying is that join the customer table with the orders table based on the customer ID column. So that the customer ID in the customer table is equals to the customer ID in the orders table and use inner join. That is, only look for the record where both customer IDs match. When we run this, it is going to give us the two tables. Let me show you in a broader window. Now you can see that these are the records for the customer table, and you can see that now we have the records for the orders table. If you look at the number of records that was returned, we have 184 records returned. The next thing we want to do is that we are not looking for all of these columns. We are only looking for the customer name, customer ID, and the other value. As a result of that, we will start writing the column names that we want. The first one is the customer ID. We write the customer ID. The next one is the customer name. And then the third one is the other value. These are the three columns that we are looking for. But when you write columns like this, it is important to specify it. Why? Because these three columns are from two different tables. Labeling them is going to make it easy for my SQL to know which column are you referring to. For example, there is a customer ID in the customers table, and there is also customer ID in the others table. Which of them are you referring to? This is why you have to label. Now, I'm going to tell my SQL that for this time, I'm looking for the customer ID in the customer table. And then I am also going to tell it that the customer name I'm looking for is the customer name in the customer table. And the others value is from the other table. Now, let's change the customer ID here to the one in the others table. Having done all of this, the next thing is that we want to be sure that our join condition is well matched and the join is specified, whether it is inner join or outer join. At this point, I am going to run this query again. So when I run this query now, we are going to be having only three columns. You can see we have three columns: customer ID, customer name, and the other value. These three columns were generated from two different tables. If I show the output panel, you will see that we still have 194 rows returned. Now, let's go another step further. When you are using multiple tables, you are going to be joining several tables together. Writing the full name of the table can be stressful. That is why we can actually use a shortcut where we specify a letter to represent our table name. For example, we can say customer table C and then others table O, which means that as we continue in this query, we are going to be using C to represent customer table, and we are going to be using O to represent the others table. Here we just say O dot customer ID, and then here we say C dot customer name. Here also we say O dot other value, and here we say C dot customer ID is equals to O dot customer ID. If I run this query now, it is going to give me the same output. Thank you very much. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification icon, and also like our video. Until we meet in the next one.